So hello, let's start the Eclipse CDT 10.0 and beyond. So my name is Alexander. I'm leading small company registered in Russia, RCSOP, and we are focused on Eclipse consulting, mostly in the IDE domain, but also RCP and modeling. I'm committer for several Eclipse projects. The key is Eclipse Platform and Eclipse CDT, and I am also leading the Eclipse Passage project that represents, actually allows to define and control functionality constraints like checking your license on product start and so on. I'm also leading the IDE effort at Software Task Group and collaborating with Open Hardware on that. So let's understand why the Eclipse CDT is the best choice. Actually, the short answer is because it's open source Eclipse project, right? But we have time to deep more in details. And I would say that probably it's not the for general C and C++ programming, but it's for sure the best for embedded programming, because you can say there are other solution IDEs that probably provide better support for modern C and C++. Yes, that's true, but the embedded industry is very conservative. And also you can say that there are solutions like VS Code that can just start debugging with 2 clicks. And I would say that yes, you are right, but it works this way only for the very simple and default toolchains and so on. And for embedded, you will need to configure it a lot. So the project, CDT project, is very mature. As you can see, it's about 18 years of active developments with a lot of commits and contributors through the years, a lot of companies, and it provides the full functionality that you need to develop embedded application and more. So it's configure and build, navigate and refactor, analyze and fix. You can configure a lot of debug and run, and it is open to extend to integrate, which is even more important. So what is also one of the key preference for embedded, because it has a high configurability. I decided to better demonstrate you as a screenshot because it's too long to describe every extension point and every UI capability that allows you to configure your project and you build very precisely. It's also very extensible. It's so easy to extend it because it relies on Eclipse Platform. And unlike other solutions that are young and very promising, I'm talking about VS Code, Eclipse Day, and others, it's already implemented in the platform. So it has a workspace, very powerful, with a lot of hooks. You even can implement your own file system, and that is used to access remote file system. It has naturals and builders that help you to manage very complex project content with different languages and different ways to process that source files and so on and so forth. It has an extensible annotation and markers that can help you to highlight the problems and keep your attention on it. It has ability to fully set up your user interface, adding or using actions, buttons, menus, whatever you would like to have. It also helps you to organize the workbench, focusing on your activity. It has a powerful debug model to support any language you want and visualize the debug information as you like. And the launch configurations allow you to configure the launch and debug of many tools, including third party. So an Eclipse CDT just extends it, having so rich basis, it provides the project templates. And again, it's very important for embedded world because the project configuration may be very sophisticated, and CDT allows here to lower the barrier to entrance to that world. And there is a lot of by build definition that you can describe the tool chains, you can set a lot about options of tools, and so on and so forth. Where parsers helps you to give the output from some command line utilities back to IDE. There are code formatters and ability to integrate documents like Oxygen and others, and a lot of out-of-the-box debug visualizations. And also what is important to mention is indexer policies, and here is the entry point to solve your scalability problem, because you can skip some big headers or do something like this. Okay, and also it can help you to get even more from our simultaneous release components. I just enumerated what is currently used. We already talked a bit about platform, but the modeling framework is here. It's a bit underestimated currently, but you know, every configuration is finally a model, and it can be used even more. The parallel tools platform, the eGit and Mylin, and also modern stuff to support things like LSP and DAP, debug adapter protocol, and also Linux tools to support working in Docker containers and so on. So who's using Eclipse CDT? A lot of companies is using it through the years, and this list is not actually full. It can be updated, but what is important that those companies already recognize the value and continue to develop the products, the commercial products, some open source products or freely available using the CDT. But what is interesting, who is supporting the Eclipse CDT today? As you know, as you can see, so it's just a screenshot. The information may vary from day to day, but what will be constant is the Kitsch for coders with Jonah Graham, who is doing a lot. Mike already advertised him. Yes, and RCSOP company that I'm leading. So you can see that two small companies are doing a bit more than half of the work. And what is exciting, a lot of work is done by contributors and committers from our project. And what I can say here, probably some companies are not listed. I know that Renesas is supporting that, and other companies like Intel and NXP and many others. But I want you to see that CDT requires your contribution, more support from your side. Resources, funding, or just direct contribution will be very helpful for us. So let's dive a bit more what is changed in Eclipse CDT 10.0. It has a lot of changes, and I would give you an overview how it looks from the containment perspective. It's not so much details here, but it may give you an overview what is inside the CDT. It's really the huge project, and it covers everything that you can imagine for embedded CDT or just C and C++ CDT development. So I could mention here the new Docker and Flatpak support that started to be introduced, the debug adapter protocol and LSP, and a lot of classic components. Also, you can see the CMake, and CMake is the main and major contribution for the 10.0. It was started by Martin Weber long ago, and this is an exciting example of how community can add back the value, and it's just a fantastic work that's supported, that improves the CDT experience a lot. So Martin is now a committer of Eclipse CDT, and he continued to improve that. Okay, and then the next improvement, we finally decided to publish the language server support. It's experimental one because it interferes the classic editor with its own warning and errors, and we decided to hide it. So if you want to try it, to give it a try, we appreciate it, and we would like to know your feedback, but you need to configure it a bit, and here's an example how to do that. So you need to enable it, and you need to use generic editor instead of common C and C++ editor. The current language server what is supported is ClankD because it's the best, and as usual, Eclipse Platform allows you to contribute more if you need. So other changes are Java 11. that require it is as a minimum following the platform change. And it's also important change regarding environment variables. We had a lot of discussions in the CDT and finally decided to make it case sensitive. We also decided to drop the Arduino plugins because we have better offering slower project that is open source and based on Eclipse CDT. So we just removed that, and we also dropped several parsers that is not well supported. To learn more, you can follow the link and see what is going on there. So now I would like to talk about the ecosystem around Eclipse CDT. And first solution to mention is Eclipse Embedded CDT. Actually, it's well known as a GNU MCU plugins. It's a great work done by Livio Ionescu, and this year it became an Eclipse project under IoT group. And it gives even more value for embedded because it focuses on a lot of configuration and project templates and support of tool chains and debuggers and more that are specific for embedded development. The fantastic news is that the upcoming release will include the special package embedded C and C++ development. So you can start downloading it. It's available from M1 and give your feedback to the Livio and team. And also it's important to mention that with help of Alexander Kurtakov from the platform side, Livio was able to run the Eclipse Embedded CDT on Raspberry Pi 4 that is based on Eclipse Platform support for R60 for architecture. And yes, if you still have concerns, the Raspberry Pi is not a toy, so you can use it in the serious tasks. Another story is working with Open Hardware Group. Mike already presented it a bit, and I'm happy to be part of this effort because it's fantastic that open source goes not only for software but also for hardware. And we already built a kind of starter IDE for open hardware work, including the most relevant component into it. So it's Eclipse modeling framework, platform, CDT, and embedded CDT. And our current plan is to integrate the toolchain. The toolchains that provided by GCC based by MBCosm, and I know that Tails is working on an LVM based toolchain, and start filling in the sample project like Hello World, working on templates and so on. So you're all welcome to join this effort. It's open source. And on the parallel, we are working to make this an Eclipse project, so with regular builds and so on. Another story that is that should be you're most probably familiar with the platform IO, because for embedded development it's very popular. So it's actually not an IDE, it's rather a platform, and it has very advanced architecture like in the LSP or DAP or LLVM. So you need to integrate something only once, and then you can use it for everything else in that system, in that ecosystem, let's say. So it supports a lot of target boards and software framework and semiconductor architectures, libraries. And what is important that it also has an Eclipse CDT integration that help you to enjoy all the experience of usage Eclipse CDT with Platform IO. And we starting to work ourselves, my company and Platform IO, to renew that integration and make it open source solution to improve the embedded development even more. Okay, so what else can be done with the power of CDT? So it's not only for development itself, but it may be, it is widely used, as you know, for commercial products and applications. Here we will talk a bit about automotive domain. So as you know, it requires regulations. So there is an ISA for functional safety 26262, and according to that ISA, you need to create a safety plan that covers a lot. So we need a system and hardware and software safety concept, and also for tools, you need to classify them to understand that confidence level, and you need to create also the safety manual and some other documents that are not strictly required, but it's better to have them. So if you have questions, you can always contact our good partners Validas, and they will describe you and guide you through the process what to do. But then you need to start creating the safe product, and now you know what to use for it. It can be CDT because it's the best for embedded. So during the safe product creation, you will need to create a safety case that is required by the ISO. And that case should have all the system, hardware, and software and tools covered. We already have a report, but we also can offer the additional safe tool usage report that can be controlled during the development. So how it can work, because we already have a prototype for that. So Validas provides a qualification kit with safety manual, and CDT provides all the project metadata, because CDT knows very well what tool chain is used, what tool is used, what option is used, and so on. RCSOP just integrate them and provides a continuous safety experience. So it just helps you to check, are you still on the safe side or not? And a very important part of my talk is about contribution that you need to support the CDT project. So the CDT project hardly needs your contribution, and we have a lot of work to do, and without your help it will be not so easy for us, but we will still continue for sure. So here's the simple steps how to do that. First, you need to register an Eclipse account. It's actually an entry point for Eclipse services. So you need to specify your email, and then the username will be suggested for you. It's a kind of the most important identifiers for all the services. Then you need to sign Eclipse contributor agreement electronically. You don't need to print, sign, scan, and everything. You just need to electronically sign it. And that you need to specify the GitHub identifier in your Eclipse profile, because a lot of repositories hosted on GitHub, and it's required to control the IP policy and so on. Then you need to set up a Bugzilla. So you already have a login. So you need to log in to Bugzilla with your email, and then configure it for notification. And after that, you can start to help us a lot, because you can actualize existing records, share your experience, create new records, and do a lot of things that can help a project. So it's not necessary to code. It's every contribution is helpful for us. Then if you decide to fix something, whatever it's a source code or documentation or whatever else, you need to set up a Gerrit. So Gerrit account starts from your email. So you can log in with your email and with the same password. Then you need to upload SSH keys and configure notification. Okay, after that, you need to set up your workspace. And this is where fantastic work of AdMercs start to, you can just start enjoying it. So I'm trying to support that in the workable form, so hope it will work for you as well. So you need to download Eclipse installer and switch to advanced mode, and select Eclipse ID for committers as a base package. And then on the next page, select the CDT project. And after that, it's very important on the next page to configure the Gerrit and user identifier properly. That will be used to clone the repositories and tune all the workspace for you. And after that, I hope you can you will receive the workspace, Eclipse workspace with everything, check it out and build properly, and you can do your modification. Here's the example how you need to formulate your comment. And the comment should contain the backspace back number. This is required for the scripts to link the commit change set with the Bugzilla record with some title. And then in the footer of your message, it's very important to have a change ID like this with zeros. That means Gerrit will assign the identifier automatically and sign it off by to allow the system check your the existence of agreements signed by you, what we did in the first step. Okay, so that is what you need to push your change, and then a lot of scripts will start working, and finally you will get the build result. And from this, you need a lot of patterns to go through it and discuss with the team what to fix, what to change to get it accepted. But finally, it's all doable. And you're very welcome to start this effort. If you have generic questions regarding what is where to start better, or what is the proper place to fix this or that defect, and so on and so forth, please don't hesitate to ask CDT developers on the mailing list. And actually, this is it. So thank you. Please don't forget to vote about the session, and I'm ready to answer your question, if anything. So let's see. That's okay. So we have a question. Then will the core VID will be released? Very good question. So we are currently in the process of being a good Eclipse citizen and formulate all that administrative stuff. But what we have on the GitHub is ready to launch product, so you can just check out. It has all the scripts. It has an instruction how to build it, and you will get the Eclipse product launchable. So that's actually, in some sense, it's ready to be evaluated, and you're welcome to write your PRs, submit your PRs, or write issues, and so on. Any other questions? Yes, that's a good question. That's a good question regarding new features. So, you know that the Eclipse CDT now has no special funding to talk about solid plans and some commitments, right? So if companies will be interested to fund the CDT project, then we can discuss and commit for some features for it. Currently, we are doing our best to support it, to be current, to fix bugs, and continue work on what is already there. So this is what I can share now, but you can get more details and discuss on CDT development mailing list. Anything else? Okay, we did seems to did it even ahead of time, so I was, yes, I was afraid of having no time for questions, but okay, you can always engage the team on the mailing list, or you can send personal message either for Jonah or to me or to CDT development or whatever. That's good question. So it's still alive. The core build API is still alive, and actually we are trying to be very conservative before breaking something, even if it's promising to have more functionality, right? Because we understand how many people in the downstream relies on the API. So we're trying to support what is already existing until it gets just even no power to do that, or it just, you know, or if we have better offering like for Arduino. Oh, yes, very good question. So yes, I know there is a plan to create embedded working group or something like this. And it depends on the interested, mostly of potential budget suppliers, and I know that this is in the process, and Jonah is leading this effort. It's better to ask him and Michael Milinkovic what is going on in that direction. Regarding CDT GDB VS Code extension, this is what Jonah and his team is doing. So unfortunately, I have no details regarding that, but I recommend you to ask on CDT dev and on the mailing list, and Jonah always reply all the messages, and he will be happy to answer you. Okay, so again, just to summarize that, CDT may look a bit vintage, right? So, but it's still in the very good shape, and I would say it has no alternatives if we consider all its platform capabilities. I had an experience of doing IDE work for VS Code, and it's promising, yes, but from the platform perspective, it's very weak now. So it has about 2% of API that is required actually to build the CDT grade of integration, CDT grade of experience. Yes, it's not, we are not collaborating, unfortunately, too much with Eclipse team, and I hope we can get some contacts here to build some consistent story between Eclipse CDT and Eclipse C++ support. I think it's possible. Yes, okay, thank you. And yes, so please don't forget to vote.